The process of finding your weights for the 5x5 program is simple, but does take some time and some work. I'm not saying that you need to go through every exercise and figure out your 8 repetition max for that exercise before starting, but we do need to figure out how much we can push, pull, squat, and deadlift safely for an 8 rep max before going. Because of this, I highly suggest taking one day before starting the program to figure these out. So I have 4 weights here, and we're going to be going through the process of finding my 8 repetition max for an overhead press. So like I said, this process can be applied to a squat, a deadlift, a row, and the press, all to find your 8 repetition max. And that will get you in the right vicinity of weight for the rest of your exercises. Anytime you see a pulling exercise, you go back to your row weight. Anytime you see a squatting exercise, you go to your squat weight. If something is on one leg, you split that weight in half. And if you don't have all of these weights available, you do the best you can. You get as close as you can for the exercises. And even if you need to switch during those 5 sets for that exercise on any given day, please, safety first. Okay, so do what you can. Don't push yourself if your weight is too hard, if you can't get those 5 reps. So I have 35, 44, 53, and 62 pounds here. We're going to be going through finding my 8 repetition max. I have an idea of where it is, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to fast forward the rest. I'm going to be resting about 2 to 3 minutes in between each attempt. Okay, so I'm going to start with the lightest. I'm going to do my presses. If I get to 8 and I still have some energy left in the tank, I'm just going to put the weight down. I'll wait my 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'm going to move on to the 53 pounder and so on, or to the 44 pounder, and so on and so forth until I find my 8 repetition max. So I'm going to grab the bell, and we're going for 8 reps. Good quality reps. If you're really struggling by the last one, that's a good thing. That's your max. I already know this is too light. 8, okay, could have gone for quite a bit longer there, but I'm still gonna rest, and then we'll be back to test out the 44. Okay, so I've rested about 2.5 minutes, and now we're gonna be testing the 44 pounder. The 35 was clearly too easy. An 8 rep max is definitely not my, 35 pounds is not my 8 rep max. So we're cleaning it up. Okay, so definitely harder, but I still had more in the tank. Probably could have got 4 or 5 more there with a little struggle, but we're going for a max here, so that struggle is wanted. So once again, I'm going to rest 2-3 minutes, somewhere about that, and then we're going to come back and we're going to go for 53 pounder, see what we get. Okay, so 2 minutes and 15 seconds have passed, and I feel pretty rested. It wasn't too much of a struggle to get the 44 pounder for 8. So we're moving on, we're going up to 53. And once again, maybe you don't have a ton of weight laying around. When you're going through this process, you just want to find something that gets you the closest to 8 reps. Now, if it's 7 with a weight, or it's 10 with a lighter weight, I'm actually going to err you on the side of caution to start with the 5x5 program and go with the 10 rep weight. If you shoot for 5x5 with a 7, you're probably going to get burned out, maybe even a little bit injured, because you're not going to be able to withstand the amount of work in the compressed period of time for those exercises. Say if it's with the press and I start going with, you know, a really heavy weight, I'm just going to get too tired. I'm not going to be able to finish the 5 rounds of that exercise. So a little over 3 minutes now with all my talking. You clean it up. We're starting to do some work. 4, 5, 6, Okay. So maybe 2 to 3 more in there. They would have got pretty sloppy is my guess, but still could do 8, not too crushed. Shoulder feels fine. Gonna give it the 2 to 3 minutes, come back for the 62 pounder. We're going through the 62 really quick. It's been about 15 minutes or so, and I'm only on my 4th weight. And this is what I mean by taking one of your training days, figuring out the right weights. It does take some time. You don't want to kind of guess. You don't want to just say, okay, just because I have these weights laying around, this is what I'm going to use. Give yourself the best chance at doing this properly, and you'll get the best results. So something that lands you as close to that 8 repetition max as possible, slightly over if you need to. Don't work with a weight that's underneath that 8 rep max. It's not going to go well. You'll probably get tired. So I've got a 62 pounder here. We're going to be shooting for those 8 reps. We'll see where we land. Here we go. Okay. So probably could have got one more really ugly one, maybe have to use my legs a little bit. But I think you can see the difference between what that first weight was like and what this last one was like. Okay, so we had 35 or 62. I even will say in a moment of overconfidence, brought the 70 pounder over here. It's not gonna happen. 62 is my weight. So with my pressing, anytime it's saying that, hey, you have 5 reps of your 8 rep max weight, I'm going with 62 pounds because that is my weight. Now, I do want to test both sides. There could be a significant difference, and then you have to go with whatever weight is lighter of the two. So if you have, 253 pounders, say my right arm can't do 62 8 to 10 times, I'm going to 53s. I want to always err on the side of caution. But you're still going to be working most likely in that 60 to 80% of your 1 rep max for these things. Therefore, you are going to be getting stronger, okay? That's the whole point. We work within ranges that don't approach that 90 to 100% of a 1 rep max, and then all of a sudden you start getting stronger because you put in so much work with a specific load. And so, if you're within that range, you're going to be safe. You're going to get benefit out of it. So that was the process of finding my overhead press 8 rep max. The same process applies to your squatting, whether it's with 1 weight or 2 weights. Just note that it's the total weight, and then when you're doing single leg work, that splits in half. Same thing with deadlifting. And then with rowing, same thing. If you're saying you can do 20 pounds together for a bent over row, just know that there's some single arm work, and you might need to hunt down a 10 pounder to split that in half. So hope this was helpful. If you need to, watch it a couple times. I feel like everything was covered pretty clearly here. So just finding as close to your 8 rep max as you can. Err on the side of being able to do more than less when you pick your weight, okay? So give it a try.